Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the exponential horn, or as we're going to call it, the bell, for the end of your flute that you'll use next week in CAD. So this is part 2 of your CAD document, or of your lab document. Part 1 is installing Fusion360. If you had any trouble with part 1 at all, please don't wait until Thursday or your lab section. Please let us know ASAP and we can help you through that. We have couple different options. You can either install it on your own computer or you can use it over one of the virtual machines we have set up through Canvas. All the instructions for that should be in the lab write-up, but let us know if you have any trouble with that. So we've launched Fusion360 and this is our blank page. This is our new, it gives you just an untitled when you first launch it up. And the first thing we want to do, unless you've already set this up globally, is we want to set our units to millimeters. For this lab specifically, we're going to use millimeters for everything. In the future, you may want to use inches, you may want to use meters. It's really up to you, but you can change these within the document. The directions that are given in the lab write-up are to go up here to your name. You know, you get your initials, you've logged in, go to Preferences. It'll pop up this preference page, and down here in default units, under design, you can set what your default units are. So this will make it so that these are the dimensions that are used, or these are the units that are used every time you launch Fusion360. So if you're used to millimeters, you can have it so it always launches in millimeters. If you're used to inches, you have it always launch in inches. You can also change it locally, so you can change it for the part file itself. So say my global units, or my units that I wanted, were always in inches. I can change that here, hit apply, OK. I can also go up here to the document settings and change this. Because I launched in millimeters, it's already set to millimeters, but I can change here, go change active units, and I can select what I want in here. I do want, and you can also change to your default there too. I do want this to be in millimeters. Again, all the dimensions given to you in your lab write-up are in millimeters. So now that we've got the document set up, what we need to do is we need to figure out how we're going to get our revolve. So I've got a finished one here just to show you. So this is what we're going to be creating. It's just a very simple bell. It's basically just a revolve, a shell, and an extrude. Just three somewhat quick steps. You know, it may not be quick in time, but as far as features, it's not a lot of features. We'll go back here. And so logically, sort of the first thing we want is to make that bell shape, which is our revolve. If you hover over the revolve, it tells you what you need. It tells you need it tells you what it does. So it says it revolves a sketch profile or planar face around a selected axis. So you need to create your profile. So you need to create the shape that it's going to revolve, and then you need to create an axis of revolution. So those we can both do in one sketch. We don't need to create separate sketches for those. Those can be self-contained into one. I'm going to use the term sketch a lot. Sketch, this is a term that's used in every CAD program that I know of. You start with a two-dimensional sketch that you then convert into three dimensions in some way. So we're going to click on the sketch button. And then when you click on that, it sort of gives you this view of all of your three planes. I can drag this around and I can see that there's three planes here. You need to always do a sketch on a plane. It needs to know where in space to put your sketch. For this part itself, it doesn't matter which one of these I click on. It's really up to you. I'm going to click on this one for fun. And now I'm in sketch mode. So you can see all the icons up here have changed. And I have this little dot in the middle. This dot in the middle here is your origin. This is where your X, Y, and your Z planes come together. You want to make sure you keep the sketch palette open. If it gets in your way, you can just minimize it there. But if you hit finish sketch, it's going to exit out of your sketch and you won't be able to draw anymore. So just don't hit this or this until you're done. If you do, you can always go back in, and I'll show you how to do that later once I have something drawn in here. So the first thing we need to do is create our axis of revolution. So your axis of revolution is just a line. It's pretty simple. That's all you need. So we're going to come up here to the line tool. We're going to click on this. If I just drew a regular line, it's going to want it to treat that as the edge of your part. So what we want to do to tell the computer that it's your axis of revolution is you want to make it a construction line. Just click on this button here. And a construction line is used exactly for that. It's used to help you construct other things. Construction lines also will be hashed, so you can see this is not a solid line, it's a dashed line. That way you know that it's not, it's an invisible line for the system. I want this first one to be vertical. I can drag it around. The length really doesn't matter on this, but I want to basically snap it so it snaps to vertical. And you can see that little icon that pops up when it goes to vertical. And then I'm just going to click some arbitrary length. And then I'm happy. So to get out of the line tool, I can hit escape, or I can click this little OK button. If I click this OK button, it's going to keep me in the line tool and I can draw more lines. If I want to create something like this, I can do this. Or if I hit escape, it'll finish my lines and take me out of the line tool. If you draw lines that you don't want, you can just select them and hit delete. It's pretty simple. So now this is our axis of revolution. I do actually want to use the line tool now to start creating my sketch, or my profile. So I just hit the line tool again. In this case, we do not want it to be on construction line. So I'm going to unclick that. And now I'm going to start drawing the 3 lines that I need that are sort of the middle of the horn, the top, and the bottom. So here I'm just going to go out. You're given dimensions kind of at the beginning of the section. I can either, while this is highlighted, so you see while the number is still highlighted in blue, I can give this is 25.4 and hit enter. It kind of showed me that it went off the screen. It's fine, it'll scale. If you want this to be longer, which you don't need it to be longer, you can just drag it if you want. I want to do the vertical line. Again, I want it to be nice and vertical, and then I want a top line. So I've got my 3 different lines. I didn't dimension those the way I dimensioned that 25.4. That's okay. I can go in here, do sketch dimension. I can click on this line and just drag this out and then type the dimension I want, which is 40. And scroll so I can see. And then this one, I can do the same thing. And this one is 10.75. Now all 3 of my lines are dimensioned. This is what I want. Except it's not complete, it's not closed. To do any sort of 3-dimensional feature, you need to have a closed sketch. That means you need to close all your gaps, essentially. And because we're making an exponential horn, we want it to be exponential, and so we're going to sort of create a parabolic shape in here. I'm going to go create, and I could do an arc, but then you'd have to figure out for the curvature, and you'd have to figure out where the center of your arc should be. But instead, because we know we want it to sort of be a parabola, we're going to do this conic curve. So we can give it where the 2 points are, we give it the row value, and then we can give it some other dimensions. So we're going to do this, we're going to click that. You can click these in either order, but I'm going to click this point, I'm going to click this point, and then I'm just going to drag this anywhere. I'm just going to do it so it doesn't have any auto snaps. Click that, and you're going to see this pop up here for the row. I want the row to be 0.5, type 0.5, and hit enter. And so there's my row value. You can see how these lines, so this line is now blue and the rest are black. The blue line means that it's not fully defined and you can still change it around. So I can move this around, I've got all these different shapes. We want this to be a pretty specific shape, so now we're going to dimension where this point is. So again, I'm going to use my sketch dimension. I'm going to click this point. It's actually already highlighted, but I can click that point. And then for the vertical dimension, I'm just going to I can either reference this line or the origin. It doesn't matter. I'll click this line and drag out here. Click, and then I'm going to type my dimension. This should be 20. And then same thing goes here. I can show you, you can do this. I could click the origin in this case, or this line. I'll show you what happens if I click the origin. If I do the origin, if you just drag it straight up, you're going to get the point, like the shortest distance, like if I drew a line. If I bring it down, it's going to give you the horizontal dimension. And if I drag it to the left or to the right, it's going to give you the vertical dimension. We want the horizontal one because that one's not completed yet. Click down here and do 12.7. Okay, so now you see all of the lines are black, which means everything is fully constrained. If I get out of this tool, if I try to grab any of these points, they're not going to let me drag it and move it. You still have this one. This one is your line, and so this will still let you drag it. Again, this doesn't matter how long this line is, it just needs to be a vertical line so that it knows what to revolve around. I'm happy with this, so I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, and then you can see all these icons switch back to these. If for some reason you accidentally hit Finish Sketch before completing this shape, or maybe you notice that it's unconstrained, you can come down here or up here, right click on it, and do Edit Sketch, and you'll go right back in and you can go back and edit. And again, you can see the icons switched back to sketch mode. Again, I can hit Finish Sketch again. So now we have both the things we need. We have an axis of revolution and we have a profile. So now I can do Revolve. The Revolve is smart. There's only one profile in here so far. If you had multiple different sketch profiles, you would probably have to select it. But since the system could only see one, it automatically selects that. And then for the axis of revolution, just click on this one, and then it gives you a preview of what you have here. So this is this looks like what you want it to look. You want it to go all 360 degrees. You could have it only go, you could have it just do 180 and it'll just do half of it, but we want the full circle. And then hit OK or enter, and you've got your basic bell shape. One thing you notice though is that it's solid looking. There's no way you could actually pass air through that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to shell it out. We could have created the walls inside. We could have, in the sketch itself, created that entire profile, but I just want to show you a couple different tools you can use. So we've got our shape here. I'm going to click Shell. Sorry, I forgot to show. It shows you what it does. It basically hollows it out. And then for the faces and bodies, we want to select the top and we want to select the bottom. So those are the areas that it's not going to shell out, and it's only going to shell out sort of or trace this other shape. And then inside thickness, right, we want to shell out the inside, not the outside. There's nothing on the outside. The inside thickness we want to be 3 millimeters. And you can see it kind of gives you a preview again, and then you can hit enter or OK, and it'll finish the shell for you. So now you can see all the way through. And that's most of the way there. We're about 80% of the way done. The next thing we want to do is we want to make a little ridge here so that you can assemble this to the other 3D printed flute pieces, which we'll use in next week's lab. So this is going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be an extrude, and all we need to do is draw a circle for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another sketch, and like I said, you always need to reference a plane. We don't need to use these. We can now use this surface that we just created, sort of this plane that's on the top. Okay, so all we need to do in this case is create a circle. So I'm going to do center diameter circle. I'm going to reference it off the origin. Again, this is another reason why it was nice to use the origin, because everything is centered on that. There are different types of circles we want. This is the easiest one, especially if you know where you want the center. So I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to bring this out somewhere in between. I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to give it a dimension. I'm just going to click this, and I can give it the diameter, which is, I think it's 18.7 millimeters, 18.7. It hit enter. We only need to draw one circle in this case. Some CAD programs you would need to make two circles, but in this case, Fusion360 actually is a little smart and it'll separate these out. So I'm happy with the circle. I hit finish sketch, and now all I need to do, so you can see how I can highlight either that or that. You might need to zoom in to make it easier for yourself. I can just click this profile so it's blue and then hit extrude. And then for a length, we want this to be 3.8 millimeters. And we want it to be pointing up. If for some reason your arrow is down, it would probably default to cut. But in this case, if we go this way, it'll be a join. And again, because I dragged that arrow, I need to just redo that. And then I'm done. So this is basically the entire part. And you can see down here, it only used 3 separate features and only 2 sketches. So hopefully this wasn't too painful for you. The next step is to create the mouthpiece. That one we want it to be a little bit more challenging. But again, if you get stuck on anything, please ask questions. We don't mind answering them, and we don't want you to be stuck and banging your head on your desk for hours and hours when it's probably something simple that we can fix for you. Alright, thanks.